Hello guys, welcome to another episode on my channel. I'm just going to take a slight detour away from what we've been doing. We've been building the client onboarding workflow. So, a lot of these episodes are just going to be random until I figure out some kind of structure to things and whatnot. But one thing I have been working a lot with has been Zoho and trying to get the credentials down. Gonna get you on that journey. And I did get here this is so cool. So I got Gemini to help me come up with an idea for a YouTube video on how to do Zoho credentials. And I'm gonna walk through Gemini's instructions, and I'm also gonna kind of tell you about my own journey in trying to get Zoho Credential set up and the challenges that I face, so you can avoid them yourself. So this is about connecting your N8n automation to Zoho, so you can do more work, get more value out of Zoho. Now, naturally, you would know that, for example, in N8n, there is, if I say like here, this is just like a random new workflow, a manual trigger, there is a Zoho app in N8n, right there, Zoho CRM, which is good because you can do account actions, you can do contact actions, you can do deal actions, invoice actions, lead actions, product actions, a lot of actions, purchase order actions, and so on and so forth. But like, for example, if I go anywhere, like maybe, I don't know, get a contact right here, you will notice that if I'm creating a credential, in Zoho, it has this thing already. It has a redirect URL, it has an authorization URL, an access token URL, and a client ID that you should ideally add here, and a client secret. The problem is the scopes in Zoho for the native app only have the scopes for client.settings.all and client.modules.all, right? So you're only getting that particular thing. So it's like, you can see it right here from Google. You get client.modules.all, client.settings.all, and so ZohoCRM.modules.all, ZohoCRM.settings.all, and ZohoCRM.users.all. Unfortunately, that's very basic. There's a lot more that Zoho has to offer via API, like doing specific types of searches. COQL is very popular. It's like an SQL type of language that Zoho has. Doing bulk writes, like when you're sending mass emails and stuff and you want to make templates and all that. All of these require different scopes that the native Zoho node does not offer. So when it comes to that, you want a way to be able to do this. Now, there is a ways, right? So for example, according to this, you would go to, and a lot of times you get like invalid redirect URI as an error and a lot of other things. But anyway, you would start right here, right? You would start at API console. Is that my light off? The lighting is still good, right? Okay, good. So you go to API console. So it's the Zoho API console. This is assuming you already have a Zoho account. I would advise you, if you want, like just go to Zoho 1. And you can see here they have a free trial for most of these things, but you can get a free trial for Zoho 1 to just try this stuff out. So you just activate the free trial and you sign up, and that's okay. Then once you're done with that, you come to the Zoho API console. And we can see that here because it says literally, okay, so it has some things. The hook is start with the pain point, show a big red error message on screen, invalid redirect URI. Say something like, if you've ever seen this error while trying to connect an app to Zoho, you're in the right place. In the next 15 minutes, I'll show you how to get it right for the first time, every time. If you've ever seen the invalid redirect URI error while working with Zoho and N8n, then you're in the right place. In the next 15 minutes, I'll show you how to get it right the first time, every time. I don't know if I did that right, but that's the hook. But then the first place we start is at API console. So I mean, they're like there's a quick theory here about the thing that wants access, the gatekeeper, the client ID and secret, and so on. And then we start at the API console. Is this the part where I explain how OAuth works? Maybe. Okay, so it works a little something like this, right? So I'm just gonna sign up real quick here because I already have a Zoho account. But it works a little bit like this, right? So we have this OAuth flow here, and the idea behind OAuth flow is very simple. How can you get third-party applications to gain access to users' accounts on your application without those users sharing their logins with that third-party account? And that's where OAuth comes from. OAuth 2 in particular is a very specific type of OAuth. There was OAuth 1.0 and then OAuth 2.0. They're slightly different. OAuth 1.0 is slightly more complicated. OAuth 2.0 is slightly simpler. So we're going to look at OAuth 2.0, which is a new standard for how we do this, right? So the idea, again, is that you have the client or the third-party application. This is from zoho.com/accounts, blah, blah. And it's about like the documentation for OAuth. You have the client or a third-party application, and then it sends an access token request to a specific URL, right? OAuth/v2/auth. That's for Zoho. It could be different for any app. But then it goes to the server, and the server sends an authentication request to the user. The user logs in, and then the server confirms the authorizations. The user says, I want this and that and that. Like, I'm authorizing this third-party application to do X and Y and Z. And when they grant that authorization, then the server sends some kind of token back to the client that the client can then use to get access to the user's account to do the specific things that the user said the client could do. So a little bit extra of a layer here is that when you get the access tokens are usually short-lived. So like an access token will maybe be active for an hour on Zoho, which means that if you ever get a data breach, your user's data is only compromised for the hour that that access token lasts. But something else that the server also sends is a refresh token, which you can use to generate new access tokens as you need them. So it's long-lived, potentially forever, that you can just continuously use. But yeah, that's the basic idea. And we're trying to reproduce this in Zoho by just doing the credential stuff, right? And I told you that if you use the native Zoho app, the scopes, because this is where the authorization comes in. You define the scope of access. Can they access this or that, and what have you? So in the Zoho native app, the scopes are very limited. So if you want more scopes, you need to create a generic credential to do that. And it all starts at the Zoho API console. So I have this here. I'm just going to say skip. It's asking me if I want to do what is this? The multi-factor authentication. So anyway, this is my new account. I have a new API console. The other trick is that if you're connecting to N8n, you want a server-based application, not a client-based, not any of this other stuff, a server-based application. So I would click on that, and then we can choose the client name as maybe N8n. We got that suggestion. And the homepage URL can be anything, really. I usually just put it to my homepage. So if it's N8n, it would be HTTPS. Remember to always add the HTTPS bit. That's how it passes URLs. And then it would be n8n.intellimate.com. Okay? The authorized redirect URIs. Okay, so what is that? Well, you come back here and let's say we get rid of this. And the way you'd create a credential is you would go maybe to your credentials somewhere here. So you come here and then click on credentials right there. And then you click on create new. So there should be a way to create a new credential. Anyway, yeah, so create credential. You just click on that. And then you'd have a bunch of options. So you'd go for OAuth 2, right around where letter O starts. I think I went past. Where is it? OAuth 2. The OAuth 2 API. Click on that and then click on continue. And you have this. Now you have a few URLs to get: the access token URL, the client ID, the client secret, the scopes. That's what I was talking about. The auth URI query parameters, we'll talk about that, and the authentication, and a bunch of other stuff like should you ignore SSL headers or whatever. But the OAuth redirect URL is really what you want, because this tells the app how to send back the information. Remember, we were here and we were talking about how the client sends a request and then this server is supposed to send an access token back. And also in between here, when it's getting the authentication request, it's supposed to have a place to send back these confirmations and all of that. So that's the OAuth redirect URI. That's this. So you copy that, you click to copy, and then you go back to your app and you put it in over there and you click on create. And now you have a Zoho app. It's asking me to verify my identity. I'm just going to do that real quick. And it should create now. Great. And now you get a client ID and a client secret. Don't worry, I'm going to delete this app. So these details are going to be useless. But let's work through this. The client ID goes in here in the credentials, right under client ID. So you just paste it there. Client secrets, you come here and then you click on expression. So you can actually see what you're doing right here, right? And the client secret in this case is going to be this. So we're just going to copy it and paste it in there, like so. The scopes, so it depends on the scopes you want. Like let's say for example, I want to be able to do COQL searches. So I'll show you ZohoCRM COQL. In the documentation, you'll see what this is. COQL is like a specific query language that Zoho has for searching things, and it's almost like SQL. Like you can do many different searches and stuff, right? And you can see here, if you go to the documentation at Zoho COQL overview, you can see that there are certain scopes. So I'm just gonna like do a Control F and look for scopes. What are the scopes? Let's see. Let's try to go to the page for records through a COQL query, and then do a Control F on scopes. Yeah, so scope right there. You can see you need ZohoCRM.COQL.read and ZohoCRM.modules. Operation type you have. So it could be modules.all, modules.read, modules.write, and then ZohoCRM.modules. Module name, blah, blah. So you can do like ZohoCRM.modules.all and ZohoCRM.COQL.read. So what you do is you come back here and you're like ZohoCRM.modules.all and ZohoCRM.COQL.read. I'm not sure if that's the way it's written. So COQL is actually all lowercase and then read is all uppercase. And then here, all is usually just lowercase, I think. So this is actually supposed to be lowercase. And this is supposed to be uppercase. Now, if you want your refresh token, if you want to get a refresh token that you can keep reusing for your credentials, you need to put in here, just like it says, access type equals offline. This allows you to not have to keep granting authorization every time you want to use this. You can leave authentication as it is, header, and everything else should be okay. The access token URL and the authorization URL. So for the authorization URL, you always go, and you can kind of like get these secrets. So from like, if I just duplicate this tab, you can get these secrets from the way the native Zoho node is set up. There's a specific URL for the token and a specific URL for the code, the request code. So if you go here and you say Zoho right? And maybe we just choose like a random, like create account. And then you go to create. You can see the OAuth redirect URI, but you'll see the authorization URL is this https accounts.zoho.com/OAuth/v2/auth. And you can copy that, right? Okay, how do I get this? Just like that. So that's the authorization URL. And I don't know if that copied. Okay. Maybe we could just write it down. Yeah, let me just copy it like that. And the access token URL, you can also get it here. You can see for the US, it's accounts.zoho.com/OAuth/v2/token. And you can just copy that, right? That is annoying. How do I get this thing to copy? Copy, paste. And now we have everything. We have the grant type, the authorization URL, the access token URL, the client ID, the client secret, the scope, the whatever it is. And now you just click and connect my account, and it should create a different page where you can now click. By the way, in the OAuth flow, this would be something like, Jesus, where is it? Okay, let me try and look for it. OAuth flow. So I think it's here. In the OAuth flow, this is the part where the client sends the request, and you can see here that it's sent to accounts.zoho.com/OAuth/v2/auth, and it includes all of the other things I had, like the client ID and the redirect URL and access type in the query params, everything after the question mark. And what Zoho does is it sends a response back to the same URL telling me, hey, would you like to, I'm already logged in, so normally it'll ask me to log in, but it's like, would you like to confirm that you're authorizing this application to perform CRUD operations and to fetch data using COQL? And I click accept, right? Just like that. And it says invalid URL, failed to connect, the window can be closed now. That's probably because the other thing about the window we just opened, this one, it's only valid for like 120 seconds. So that's 2 minutes. So after that, it's not gonna work. But if I click accept now really quick, it's not gonna work again. Okay, so I don't know why that's whatever that is. But let's say we change this to that. So it's just the URL, and then come here and try to connect my account. Let's see if it works. Yes. So it was about the URL. So now it says connection successful. So now it says that I've been connected. And remember, my access type is offline, so I never have to do this again. And now I can, so it's an unnamed credential now. I'm just going to edit it and turn it into Zoho CRM. Maybe I'll call it demo credential, right? And I should be able to save that. And now if I go back to my workflow and I just get rid of this, if I do like, I just reload this page just like that. Sometimes you need to reload so you can get the data from the back end. So like I was telling you here, it did the whole authorization granted and I sent an access token, which I can use all the time. But if I come here, I just have to do an HTTP request, and here the URL will be anything I need. So for example, if it's a Zoho COQL request, where do we have COQL, right? Maybe it would be Zoho. I'd send a post request to the COQL endpoint, so it'd be something like Zoho APIs, blah blah. So I just like copy that, right? And I'd come back here and I'd say that, and it will be a post request. So I change the method to post. I wouldn't send any query parameters. I wouldn't send any headers. And for the authentication, I just choose a predefined credential type. Sorry, is it predefined credential type? Yes. And then I'd go for OAuth 2. That's O. Where is O? Where is it? OAuth. Where are you? Where is OAuth? Zoho OAuth 2 API, is that it? No, it's not Zoho OAuth 2. It's just like a generic. Okay, so I guess I'd go for generic credential type, not predefined. And then I'd go for OAuth 2. There it is, right? And now I can find Zoho demo credentials in there. And that's my authorization, right? And maybe I want to do like a general request. So I'll just come back here to the COQL thing and maybe like choose an example request, right? So what would the body be? Like select last name, first name, full name from contacts, where last name equals blah, blah. And you can like set even a limit. I'm just going to copy all of this because this all goes into the body. But basically how it works is you come back down here and you say that you're going to send a body. The content type will be JSON and the specified body will be using JSON, and you're just going to write that in here. I'll put it on expression so I can open it on a larger screen, but that's the idea. I'm just going to have this. And the select query is select last name, first name, full name, lead source, language is known. I'll remove that because I don't think my Zoho has that, even lead source. So we'll keep it simple, and then from maybe leads, right? And where last name equals, let me try someone I actually have on my leads, so Kabaki, and I'll just remove everything else just to make it simple. And now I'll just do a limit of 1. So it's very simple. Select last name, first name, full name from leads, where last name equals Kabaki, limit 1. Now, you'll notice that there's like an extra set of parentheses here, so you want to remove that. But that's the idea. And now if I execute, so if I just like execute my workflow, I should get some results. Let's see. Executions. This is where my internet starts to be a bitch. Anyway, so yeah, so we can see that I have a failed execution, and we can debug in the editor so I can make edits. So what is the error? JSON parameter needs to be valid JSON. So, okay, so yeah, so this is the thing. What I would do here, which is really cool, is I just go to Gemini. So I just come here and go and fire up Gemini. And in Gemini, I'd just be like something like, let me just have, can you clean up this COQL request for me? It isn't valid JSON apparently. And then I just have like COQL as a thing there, just so Gemini knows where to look. So this is just some delimiters right there, and I'd have it in there, and I'd send it. And let's see what it says. Right, so of course, the issue is that the value for select query is a multi-line string, which is invalid in JSON. Anyway, whatever. I'm just gonna copy this and paste it in here, like so, and execute that step, and let's see what we have. So, okay, I'm not getting much going on here, but let's just reload that and try to execute again. It's saying invalid JSON in response body. Okay, if you ever see this, basically it means that the response, and you're going to go to options, add option, and you're going to go for response. And the response format, do not have it as auto detect, just have it as text, because sometimes the response coming in from Zoho may not, like N8n may not recognize it as proper. So just have it as text. You can always do some extra stuff later, but you see it's telling me that there's no one there. What do you mean there's no one? Let me try accounts instead of leads. There. And I should get something now. Please check your parameters. Column name given seems to be invalid. Okay, so what did I do here? Select last name, first name, full name from accounts. Okay, so again, and here is where like you kind of need to know a bit about Zoho, but like I just went to contacts. That's much easier. So there's no like first name, last name. One of these fields doesn't exist in the accounts module in Zoho. But anyway, if I go to context, I can actually get a response. And you can easily pass that as JSON later on. But that's the idea. So that's how you connect Zoho. And now I can use this by going to that credential and editing it. Like if I just go here and I go for my Zoho demo credentials and I click on this pencil icon, I can edit it to include as many scopes as I want here. Ideally, you shouldn't have too many. The principle of least privilege means that you only need as many as you need, but you can ideally overpower this credential to do whatever you want in Zoho. But anyway, what did Gemini say I should do? I should show you how to create a new client, showing you the redirect URI. I think I showed you that. Creating and securing credentials. Do not share your client ID and client secret ever. And I'm going to delete this right after this. And then the connection, and then defining scopes. I already showed you that. You've got ZohoCRM.modules.all, ZohoCRM.settings.all. These are the default ones, but you can always add more through the HTTP credential. The handshake, that's what we have, like what I was trying to show you here. This is the handshake bit. And what else? Common errors are invalid redirect URI. That's if you just paste the URI wrong, and then invalid scope of 403 forbidden. That means that you didn't include the right scope, or you didn't include the right client ID or the right client secret. So you kind of like need to make sure those details are correct. Recap and call to action. Quickly summarize the key steps. Use a server-based client. I told you that. Copy the redirect URI and define the scopes. I told you that. And if this guide helped you conquer the Zoho API, please hit the like button. Please do, so others can find it. Subscribe for more practical automation guides. Please subscribe. And let me know in the comments what other service you struggle to connect to. Thank you, Gemini. This entire video has been directed by Gemini, guys. But yeah, let me know. And maybe if you'd like to see more of these like setup type videos when it comes to different nodes in Zoho or connection to different services, let me know and I can make more videos. Otherwise, until next time.